Hi, this talk is to introduce our COLING 2024 work. Has it all been solved? Open research questions not solved by large language models. This is a joint work of 22 members of the Language and Information Technologies LIT group at the University of Michigan. This is led by Wana Ignat, Jijing Jing, and Radha Mehachia. The talk will comprise of three main aspects. First, we will talk about the motivation of this work. Then we will introduce a roadmap to navigate new research questions in the era of LLMs. Lastly, we will give some advice for future work. The motivation of this work comes from the disruptive changes brought by LLMs to the NLP community. Imagine you are a PhD student addressing a certain NLP task before the emergence of LLMs. You have your own pace of working on it and your own set of techniques. However, the emergence of LLM basically provides a seeming shortcut to this task in that it seemed to conquer a lot of tasks, showing very impressive performance. And also, even if that is not perfect performance, it is much better than the non-NLP approaches at first sight. So these are really sources of panic for lots of researchers, from PhDs, different junior researchers, to even senior researchers as well. Then our paper is really to convey the message that we should stay assured, as there is lots of good problems unsolved by LLMs. The guidance that we introduce in our work starts from a person's motivation. Let's say that our research journey usually starts with different motivations, of which we give 3 examples here, but there could also be many other types. The 3 major examples we think about is the preference for techniques to improve fundamental NLP, the wish to mitigate the risks of NLP, which leads to responsible NLP, and lastly, the immediate impact that people care about, which leads to applied NLP. First, if the interest is of the first type, fundamental NLP, then there could be 2 subtypes. One is for personalities that love catching up with newest work. The other is for those that don't enjoy that much about competition, which induces lots of stress, but love working at their own pace. So the hot and popular, like populated areas in NLP are, for example, grounding, reasoning, knowledge bases, multilinguality. And across all these, we see that the current LLMs still have space to improve. Various people and teams are targeting at such improvement. In the second branch, about working on certain areas that are less crowded, those include child language acquisition, nonverbal communications, amongst others. Next, for the interest on responsible NLP, we also have 2 subtypes. The first one is wanting to make models more transparent, controllable, and efficient. The other type is about being upset about the real-world online environment and wanting NLP to help them. In the first type, we can see tasks such as ethics, interpretability, green and efficient NLP, and so on. In the second type, about online environment, there could be multiple things that NLP can do for it. One example is fighting misinformation, and many others. The third type of interest lies in immediate impact. If people prefer specific domain, there are lots of areas we can work on. There are also things that are shared techniques across multiple domains that are domain general. In the specific domain category, we can see cases such as healthcare, education, computational social science, and so on. And for domain general methods, one example is synthetic data sets, which cuts across different application scenario, as there's large need to have an application-specific data set to be curated amongst many other needs. Putting everything into an overview, we here see all the research areas that we have seen, which are either underaddressed by LLMs or untouched by LLMs. And all of them here falls into these three categories: applied NLP, responsible NLP, and fundamental NLP. Next, let's see some concrete examples, picking two of the domains as some instances. The first example area is reasoning, which is a sub-area in fundamental NLP. For reasoning, we see several types that are still challenging, even given the current LLMs. The first type is complex formal reasoning, which includes math reasoning, logical reasoning, formal causal inference, and so on. The second type is responsible reasoning in social contexts, which mainly rises from the need that we need to adapt for model responses in socially complicated and morally charged scenarios, as they are more and more used in different applications. And an overarching spirit across different reasoning tasks is that we really, like as a community, need to call for more formal definition of reasoning and design of proper evaluation frameworks. The other example area is on interpretability, which is an instance of responsible NLP. In interpretability, we see key techniques that still call for more future work, including interpreting the representations, checking where in the network encodes part of speech, verb tense, syntax, and so on. The other is about interpreting the mechanisms, which include math-related mechanisms, such as how a network can learn modular addition, greater than relation. It also includes text operations, such as copy a word, knowledge recall given a previous word, and so on. Apart from the key techniques, there are also needs for user-centered design for interpretability, such as human-in-the-loop pipeline to improve interpretability to be more human-centric. The other one is to base the generated text on references so that we know what ground those texts are on. Lastly, as future advice for researchers, we usually want to answer the question about what should I work on? So the advice provided in our work is that when a student is considering the next direction to work on, basically consider your previous experiences, look around at your community, explore your curiosities about language and about people. Try to find what resonates with you the most. Then, building on all these foundations, identify the tasks that connect with your motivations. And finally, have fun. We hope this work will serve as a rough framework to inspire different future studies in NLP and to reconsolidate confidence in what we as NLP researchers are doing. Thank you for listening.